And these three things, you can just repeat. In 95% of the cases, those situations only happen in your head. If you want to deliver results, you need to understand what is the next step, set the right vision to the team, and make sure that, I would say that the most important thing in gaining respect is to, if you want to be a manager who is delivering results with your team, just today I will answer the most frequent questions that new managers have. Let's start by asking ChatGPT, what are those questions? You are a new software manager. What are your biggest problems and fears? List 10. Boom. Okay, so first one, balancing technical and managerial work, struggling with shift from being hands-on with coding to focusing on people and processes. Okay, so this is one of the most common problems that new managers experience. And in most cases, it's that they are tend to focus much more on technical, because this is something that they are familiar with, and this is something that they are feel comfortable with. So make sure that you're over focusing on the managerial part, and that in that sense you will start getting much more exposure to the managerial part, and the balance will be fine. And the second most important thing is you have to remember that now you are a manager, and you should delegate, at least in most of the cases. So the best way to do that is to stay on the top with what's happening within your team in terms of technical, in terms of project, and offer team a guidance, offer team a direction, clear priorities, but not necessarily focus on doing hands-on things unless it's specifically necessary from the project. Okay, second, gaining team trust and respect, proving credibility, especially if promoting internally or managing experienced engineers. Okay, that's a great question, because especially when you are being promoted from the team, it might be a situation that you think that you are going to be challenged or something like this. So in 95% of the cases, those situations only happen in your head. Because if you are being promoted from the team, let's say we are promoted from the team, people will know you, people will respect you for what you did in the past. And it's very uncommon that people are being promoted without having this prior experience. It might be a case that they are being promoted incorrectly based on the wrong experience, and then there is an issue about job matching. So I know people who shouldn't be a manager is being promoted to be a manager, but in most cases, if you are willing to be a manager and you have the right skills, then in most cases it's fine. And the remaining 5% I will get back in a minute. So I would say that the most important thing in gaining respect is to make sure that you are growing in your new role, and that you're communicating your vision to the team. And in case you don't know yet something that you're learning, it's fine to be transparent with the team and just openly say what are your thoughts on something, what are your vision on something, and where you need help from the team. Because now it is crucially important that you need to have support from the team, because you are going to delegate to them and you are going to use their hands to deliver the results of the team. And okay, and the remaining 5% of people who are not happy with you, so you need to deal with such cases anyway. So in that situation, you probably need to do small steps to gain this trust. And don't assume that this trust will be given to you, and don't assume that if you trust the other person that they will trust you. So do a good job, make small steps towards gaining this, and don't try to be friend with your team to gain the trust, but be professional, and over the time you'll gain this trust. 3, handling underperformance. Knowing how to give feedback and deal with employees who aren't meeting expectations. Yeah, so for most managers, giving feedback is usually, I would say, at least uncomfortable at the beginning. But it's very important to start early, to give feedback and set clear expectations. The framework that I usually use is set clear expectations towards the behaviors, towards what you are going to execute, what you are expecting from people. So let's say that you are expecting that they will write certain code in certain quality and they will submit that to code review, etc., etc. So make clear goals that this is what you expect. And don't wait until the end of the project to provide a feedback, but immediately if you see some minor things, set expectations that you're going to provide the feedback right away and provide it very specific. So if the code is not written according to specification or according to the rules or standards that you set, point it out. Okay, this code is lacking this, I don't know, quality elements, or this code, you developed this 2 times longer than I would expect, and point it out so it can be corrected very quickly, not wait until the end of the project or sprint. And second thing, if over the time some things are happening over and over again, make sure that you not only pointing them out, but also painting a bigger picture, because then you can have a reflection, and just putting this on the table in most cases basically solve the problem, because people will know how to. And the most important thing is that they need a mirror that will show them very quickly that something is not going according to requirements. Navigating conflicting priorities, managing team business needs, technical depth, and team morale without burning people out. One of the most important things for you as a team manager is to set the right vision to the team and make sure that their priorities are being set right. And I mentioned about the vision of the team or some audacious goal. This is where we are heading, and that this is the most important things why our team exists. And this can be a very simple thing. If you are, let's say, support team, your goal of this team is to make sure that tickets that are coming here are being processed right away, and as soon as possible they are getting out with the right solution. Okay, so this is the goal of the team. And then if you have conflicting priorities about, okay, what should we doing, we have the reference point. So in most cases, if you do this constantly, people will know how to set priorities. You'll not be required every time to make a decision. But if the decision is needed because of some reasons, make sure that you are clearly stating that this is most important, this is second priority, because over the time this will also help people to understand what kind of decisions about priorities they should make. So make sure that you are giving answer to that questions, and it will be also good to justify, okay, I made this because we are prioritizing quick solutions, so I accept that I know per 10% of the tickets that are incoming will be incorrectly assessed and they will need some future additional processing, but it's much more important to make sure that this happens fast. So that's why I'm prioritizing being fast over prioritizing being right. In different team, it might be something different. So making right technical decision, staying technically relevant enough to guide architecture and strategy. There are different teams and your technical involvement may be on the different level. So I will show you 2 extremes. So, and probably you'll fall something in between. One extreme is that you are manager of the team, but you are also the most senior technically in the team. In that case, you probably need to do 2 things. First, you probably need to guide the architecture, and a lot of this work that you are doing will not be a managerial work, but it will be basically software architect. But you need to do second thing. And the second thing is to make sure that people that you're managing are learning from you. So you need to be some kind of technical mentor so people will grow. And over the time, you need to find out which people are willing to step up and take some responsibilities from you so you can delegate some of the elements of the architecture to the team. So that is one extreme. When you are the biggest expert, you need to do the architecture, but also in long term, you need to start growing people so they can take over this from you. The second case is when you are not the most experienced in the team. And in that situation, you'll probably have some very experienced senior architects, senior developers in your team. So in that case, you need to much more rely on them in setting architecture or defining the technical direction for the team. It's very important to not try to be the smartest person in the room. Instead, rely on them as much as you can. So they are willing, in case of senior people, they are, in most cases, they are willing to be engaged, and they are fine with discussing with you strategy. They are very open to share what are their perspective on some problems, on how they are going to design the architecture, or how they are seeing that the team should develop. So make sure that you are treating them as partners, as advisors. So your goal is to make sure that the whole team is working correctly, but you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. But the risk with that is you shouldn't just assume that everything will happen and you don't need to stay on the top of what's happening. So make sure that you're using this discussion with them to understand what are the benefits. You need to understand the trade-offs of different solutions, and you, in most cases, you are the decision maker for those. But don't try to do technical work for the people. You make sure that they are being engaged in that. Okay. So number 6, managing upwards, aligning with leadership and communicating effectively without just becoming a messenger. So one of the first questions that my first manager, when I started to be a manager, asked me is, what is your first team? Is it your team that you're managing that is reporting to you, or this is your team of peer managers? I don't remember how I responded that, but then he shared to me that 99% of the people get it wrong. They think that their direct team is the team that is reporting to them, but the reality is that their first team is their peers and their manager. And this is very important because in most cases, people are focusing on managing team because they are managers of them. But it should be at least 50-50. So you should align with your peers, so meet with your peers, speak with your peers about what are their priorities with their teams, how they are understanding the goals that being set by your manager, and also educate your manager about what your team is doing, or propose your manager what are the strategy options that you should take, or what are the goals that you think are relevant to your team and you want to get a feedback from your manager. So those are the things that are very important, because managing up, so managing your manager or managing connections, relationship with your peers are equally important, or maybe even more important than managing your team. Okay, so hiring and retaining talent, finding the right people and keeping them engaged and motivated. Every person is being motivated by something else. But it's very important to understand what it is, and you can understand by doing two things. First, ask the person what kind of tasks or they are willing to do. What is the goal that they are seeing, career goal that they are seeing for them in the future? Those kind of discussions will give you a sense what's making them happy, and what indirectly what is their motivation. And the second thing is observe, because there might be situation that they have a blind spots. So they are doing some things and they are awesome in them, and they are don't even noticing this because they are so good and it's so natural for them to do this. So on the next career discussion with them, mention that you notice that they are very good on those things, and this is some truly exceptional. So they can now assess whether this input is also something that they should consider. And based on that, you will understand what are their motivations and what kind of tasks you can assign to them in the future. In terms of what motivates people, in most cases, it's development. So people like to develop themselves, gain new levels. Like in every game, people like to go to the next level and expand. This is very closely connected with some kind of gaining experience and being proficient in some things. So this is also something that motivates people. The other thing might be impact. So some people like to have a big impact. So working on the most cutting edge project. Some people like to have a connection with the people. So think about different options. There are many books about that what might be. But what I found is that talking with people and understanding what they are happy with, and also providing them a feedback what you are seeing that they are very good at, is the best way to determine what is the motivation and what are things you should assign to them to basically have happy employees. And this question was also about hiring, because if you're following this discussions and giving people opportunities to grow, they are very rarely wanted to leave a team. And to get the right people in the team, you basically need to do this through experience. And if you are a new manager, you will not have this experience. So one of the things that you can do even before you become a manager is to participate in those hiring discussions, or do the recruitment process. Interview some people who are going to join the team. Provide your feedback, observe what kind of questions or what kind of behaviors you are seeing in other people. And if you are starting to be a manager and you need to hire people to the team, the best way to gain experience is through inviting other people to your interview, meaning not interview itself, but interview process. So your interview should be focused on either things that you are expert in. So if you're interviewing a person for a managerial position and you're a manager, you probably need to review also from the managerial perspective. But the most important thing is how do you see their alignment into the culture of the team? So how do you think they will fit into the team? And the remaining things, it's good that you will delegate this interview to some other people. So ask your senior developer to do the technical interview for coding. Ask your, peer manager who is expert in managing projects about asking some senior developer who is willing to join the team some questions about project management, so you will understand whether the candidate can understand what are some basics of the project management. Ask your colleague who is great at presentation, public speaking, about interviewing the candidate towards how they are good at presenting things. So getting more people exposed to the candidate will get you a better assessment of the quality of the candidate. Handling conflict. So dealing with interpersonal issues, egos, and disagreements among the team members. Disagreements in the team on the problems are good, and disagreements on the personal issues or personal kind of conflicts are not necessarily good, I would say. To handle the conflict, you need to first think what are the values that you are setting to the team. So what are the behaviors that you accept, and what are the behaviors that you say you're not going to accept at any chance? Because that will create a skeleton for the culture. And over the time, you need to behave like you said, because that will give a guardrails for team to understand what are the behaviors that are acceptable and promoted, and what are the behaviors that you are going to punish. And when you will have a conflict, it's mostly because people believes that there are some truths that they believe, and they are probably both right in their minds, but you need to assess, okay, in that professional situation, in that context of this team, these behaviors that are accepted, what is the right behavior that you are expect from them? So that's the first thing. So people need to understand what is good and what is wrong in your team. I had this situation in the past. Two guys came into my room, and one of them said, "Jan, please say something to this other guy that he behaves wrong and I'm right." And what I did, instead of just trying to jump into their discussion with them, I tell them, "Okay, so is the thing that you are working on, is it fixed or not?" They said, "No, they are not. There is not." Okay, so before we jump into something, go ahead and fix this together. Your goal for today is to fix it together. No matter what, you need to fix that. After an hour, they get back and they said, "Okay, we fixed that." Basically, redirecting their conflict into actual work, that the goal that they need to achieve, in most cases will solve conflicts. Because conflicts arise in the team, the conflicts arise in most cases when two people has conflicting priorities, and they think that their work is more important than the work of other person. So make sure that in that situations, either this is two persons or two teams, you are putting a common goal to them and ask them to fix that. That's something that 99% of the cases will solve that. Delivering results, meeting deadlines while maintaining quality, especially when expectations are unclear. The goal of the manager, if new manager came to my office and asked, "Okay, what's the most important thing I should focus on the beginning?" I said, the most important things for manager is to see where are the problems, propose solutions, so came up with some options, then decide what is the best and execute. Those three things basically solve 99% of the issues. So if you want to deliver results, you need to understand what is the next step that either is expected from you, or, and that's even better, what's the next step that you see is the most important to do. Second, you need to find out the ways how you can achieve them. This might be then from your experience, or you can ask input from the team, whatever. You need to build some kind of plan that you are going to execute, and then execute, monitor, remove some obstacles. And these three things you can just repeat. If you are executing and you hit the obstacle, okay, what is the next goal that you need to do in order to fix that? What are the options? Decide on one option, execute. So that's everything about delivering results. If you want to be a manager who is delivering results with your team, just repeat those three things. Imposter syndrome. So feeling like you're not qualified for the role or worrying about making mistakes. At the beginning, I talk about, okay, you are being promoted to the team and you are not confident enough that you're the right person in the right place. So the best way to overcome this is to find one thing that you are good at and make sure that you are delivering on that exceptionally. And so, for instance, I had a manager once that when she joined a team, she was absolutely amazing in working with her direct team. So she assigned rate goals, she explained what is the roadmap for the team, what are the plans, priorities, everything. She restructured the team in very good way, so team operates very, very effectively. But at the same time, she was not very open to share that with other senior managers, even though she was doing this much better than them, even though she just started. And we talk about them. At the beginning, I told that, okay, you need to be more open with the people, share with them, because you're doing something amazing and they should learn from you. And but they are like managers with 10 years of experience. And I said that, okay, this is something that you are very good at. And you're bringing very fresh perspective to the team, and you need to share that. And if we talked about this, it was not something that helped her to start sharing that. So she still was doing exceptionally good job in managing team, but she was not sharing that because she was thinking that she's not yet ready to share that because of her small experience. So what we decided instead was that instead of just her trying to start sharing that, she was still feeling insecure. This imposter syndrome was very visible. But we decided, okay, for next few months, you are going to focus on making sure that you are delivering exceptional results. And over the time, you will see that your team is delivering much more than other peer teams. And they will start noticing that. They will start either asking questions you directly that, okay, what you're doing that you have this so amazing results, or you'll naturally start sharing that because you will become much more confident. And this is exactly what happened. So over the course of next few weeks, 3 months, she was delivering exceptional results with her team. She was making changes in her team. So the team was operating differently than others and different structure, different processes, but it was very efficient. And people start noticing that. People started to ask questions. There were peer teams that were working alongside with her, and there are people who are starting to ask their managers, okay, why is they're operating much faster than we are? So after this time, she noticed and she got the confidence that when she was focusing on something that she was very good at, she gained this confidence, and then she became very proficient in also sharing that with others. Okay, so that's it. See you in the next video. Bye.